Okay, this is a short recording about the additional pieces of the project that you need to cover. There are 3 parts. 1, the daily plan, in which you give me a day-to-day account of how you're going to teach and how you're going to assess. 2, 5 total justifications about why you made the assessment choices you did. And 3, a commentary that allows you to describe how you addressed all the measurement issues we've gone over in class, from content validity all the way through offensiveness, bias, and accommodations. The justifications. There are 5 total justifications that you are going to write regarding how you made your choices to balance time and quality. Keys to remember. There are 4 justifications that you are going to write for the paper and pencil assessment. One for the assessment as a whole, where you talk about holistically, how did I manage and balance out everything throughout the whole assessment in terms of validity, reliability, and bias. You're also going to do one for the unit goal assessment item or items. Remember, the unit goal assessment item requires students to integrate across lessons 1, 2, and 3. And so you will have part of your assessment that targets that. I will want you to explain why you did what you did there. You will also be doing one for a lesson goal assessment. Now you can do this for lesson 1, lesson 2, or lesson 3, just for the assessment item or items that target that particular lesson goal. And remember, the lesson goals are supposed to force them to integrate all the sub-goals within each lesson. So target those. Finally, you'll be doing one more justification for any sub-goal that you want, and you have a ton to pick from there. So pick one that's interesting and allows you to demonstrate your incredible intellect and understanding of measurement issues and how you can balance time and quality. Then you're going to write one more for the alternative form assessment and treat it as a whole assessment. In other words, what's good about, right, the justification? Or I should say, what's good about the alternative assessment, and how would you justify doing that rather than a paper pencil? What are the limitations, right? Make sure that you're thorough. Discuss how you addressed each objective or section of the paper pencil assessment. So whether you're talking about the assessment as a whole, the unit goal, lesson goal, or sub goal. The burden of proof is on you, point 4. So tell me everything that you can tell me. Don't add fluff because it doesn't look good. And if it doesn't make sense, it'll only end up hurting you. So as far as what does this look like? Well, here's an example that you could go off of, right? The key here is that you're talking about your general thought process. Mention the goal, mention what you're trying to do, mention why this format is good and how you might have tweaked it to balance things out. Whether it's adding additional places or pieces onto a multiple choice, adding extra options and matching, changing your descriptions, reducing the amount of writing time, or whatever. Just make sure that you address all this stuff. Additional good examples are as follows, right? And you'll be getting this PowerPoint in case this is hard to read. It's the same idea. Tell me what format you're choosing and why you chose it, making your thought process transparent. A good thing to do is also to talk about the limitations that you still have with whatever choice you made, but you feel it's the best way to balance things given the goal and given the overall assessment. Some bad examples that I've gotten in the past are things that are very, very short and kind of general, right? This idea that it saves me time, that's why I'm doing this, shorter than writing, or I did this because it doesn't have a big guessing factor, and that's it. Right? Those are good things to say, but include it in a larger context. Let me know that you've thought deeply about this stuff. If you have questions on the good and bad justifications, and we'll be going over these a bit more next time we meet, let me know. That takes us to the commentary. Now, in the commentary, there are 3 sections in which you're going to address how you connected or covered all the validity issues, all the reliability issues, and all the bias issues. The format looks like this, right? I'm going to want you to just go systematically through, and I have a little template that you fill out where you address each thing in each section. Within each section, the general format to follow is state the general principle of what you're trying to address. Here's a stability example. And then follow it up with some concrete examples from throughout the whole assessment or assessments, right? You're going to be doing this for both the alternative and the paper pencil, okay? And again, make sure you're thorough. There's something to be said about every type of validity, reliability, and bias in everybody. One exception might be offensiveness bias. Unless you are teaching volatile stuff, it might not come up. But if you put in word problems, tell me how you got around making sure that they're not going to offend anybody, whether it's in writing or math or even science, right? For the social studies people, you do have to be careful in what you're saying. Slavery is a potentially offensive topic for a lot of people, so you'll have to make sure that you pay special attention to that one. I will remind you that this is a big source of evidence regarding how well you have mastered those measurement concepts of validity, reliability, and bias. Take your time. I can't give you too many examples of this because if I do, we're not really at the right level of cognition anymore. I'd make it too easy and shoot myself in the foot to see what you can do on your own. When I give this template to you, it will be broken up. There will be a section for paper pencil and another section for alternative. Or the project that you give. And it will be broken up like that across each section. And I'll be attaching that with this file. Okay. If you have any questions on this, let me know. Again, once you turn this in the first time, I'm going to go through, give you feedback, and let you know if you could change anything. I'm not going to tell you what you need to change other than more can be said here, or this is not quite right, or I'm not sure what you mean. But I will tell you where you can do those things in regard to each section, and then you can revise and resubmit if you want to. If you have any questions, let me know. Finally, there's the daily plan, and this is all about keeping things in alignment. The daily plan has 4 total days of instruction, 3 days of the lessons, so lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, and then 1 day that is basically an exam review, but it's really more of an integration day, where you are making sure that now you're focusing on how lessons 1, 2, and 3 interact with each other and how they relate to each other. Each day has 4 parts. 1, the goals, super simple. Because things are broken down into lessons, all you need to do is write lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, bingo, done. 2, relevant standard or standard, so you will have to go through the either Wisconsin State Standards or Common Core Standards or Next Gen Science Standards and find relevant standards, put those in each day. The third thing is a description of your instructional plan, really short, like 2 to 3 sentences about how you're going to teach to your goals that day. And finally, an assessment plan. And each goal should have a bulleted description of what that assessment is going to be. An example of what this looks like, right? Here I have my lesson 1 goal, and I'm targeting goals 1A, 1B, and 1C. I should have a general plan for each sub-goal or goal that I'm targeting. So if I also would have an overall lesson 1 goal here, I would have a 4th option here. All I want you to do is tell me your general instructional plan. Again, you don't need to look up websites or videos or identify resources or add any citations here at all. I just want a general idea. And I want you to do it for each goal so everything is in alignment. I also want you to tell me how you're going to be paying attention to see whether or not people get it and if they're ready or not to move on. So for every bullet point you have up here, every sub-goal or goal you address, I want you to tell me how you're going to be monitoring student progress down here. Doesn't need to be an exit slip, right? In this case, I'm talking about having kids work in small groups and using manipulatives. I walk around the room, see who's getting it, boom, done, move on. Next one, right? Have students re-examine their ecosystems and identify predator-prey relationships with these manipulatives I gave. Do the same thing, monitor it, boom, done, move on. And so on. So you don't need to create a worksheet or have a quiz or anything like that, but you do need some way to know whether or not your students get it. If you have any questions on this, let me know. Again, we'll cover this next time we meet in a little bit of detail, and I'll field any questions that you have at that time too. All right. Thank you.